Okay.
Good.
Very good. Aaron is a great contributor. New guy, relatively new, but every time he writes, it's awesome stuff.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so actually, Tech Corner is kind of, in a way, going to tie into all this as well.
It is, yep.
One of the things a lot of people don't like doing, if you've ever had to do it, is write work instructions. How you do something right the first time. And you'll find assembly instructions. No matter what kind of job you have, somewhere, hopefully, how you do your job is written down, how you assemble something. Now typically, and I've done this, you use whatever tools you have at hand. You use Microsoft Word, or you use maybe PowerPoint, or some people use Excel. And you put your text in, you put your image in that goes with that step in your assembly process or whatever. It works well until it comes time to edit it. In which case, if you're in Word, if any of you ever had to deal with text blocks and image blocks and move them around and shift them, you'll know it is not fun. And also, there's no revision control. I mean, true revision control. So what we're going to look at today is a product, a free product, that really makes creating work instructions with images really easy. And I'm going to go to my screen share here, and let me zoom in on this so that you guys can actually see what we're going to talk about here today. Okay. Excuse me. This is a product called LockStep. This is LockStep free. And by the way, free is no bells attached, no bells and whistles attached. This is, you don't have a logo sitting on there every time you print it out. You don't have like a certain amount of time to use this. This is a free program that works really well, and there is a paid version of that, and I'll get to you in a little bit what the difference is. But I just want to show you really quick how easy it can be to create work instructions when you have a program that's actually really designed to create work instructions. On the left-hand side here, we see a tree, and this tree is kind of where you organize all the various pieces of your work instruction. On the right-hand side, you have your properties window, and that simply shows you the properties associated for whatever you've selected in the tree. I'll step through the tree really quick. On the very outside, we have these blue folders. The purpose of the folders is to kind of organize your project. So just kind of think of them as a project folder, nothing more than that. Within your project, I have one up here called Make a Clock. This is really where you start to build your work instructions and everything associated with the work instructions. So you can put in your subassemblies. So I have a subassembly here called Tick-Tock Clock. And then I could have another subassembly called, this isn't named anything, but I might have it called fascia. And I might have another subassembly called packing. And these are all going to contain your work instructions for that particular subassembly. Within a subassembly, you can put parts. So you can build a bill of materials within your document here. You don't have to, but it's probably easiest if you do. Within a bill of material, within a part, you can attach images of the part. Perhaps you want people to actually see what the part in that bill of material looks like. Again, that's optional. Underneath our bill of materials, we actually start to build our documentation, our work instructions that are actually going to go out in the line in front of the technician or assembler. And this is all very easy to do. So I've got a couple parts in here already. I'm going to add another part. So I'm going to right-click on my subassembly. I'm going to say Add New Part. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to give it a part number. Let's call this GGG3. We're going to say this is a part number. We'll give it a name, Gear 3. I've got other fields I can fill in, including a very detailed description. So a lot of information you can include on a part. I'm going to save that part, and we now see it shows up here in our tree. Now I want to add a picture to it. So I'm going to say, well, Import Media, and I'm going to scroll down to where I've saved a picture of Gear 3, and that comes in, and now Gear 3, by the way, now I can also rearrange this by dragging this anywhere I want. That's the nice thing about this kind of software, is you can drag your elements and organize them after the fact very easily. So if I dive into this, if I dive in, there's Gear 3, you can see there's my description, there's the part that I input, so now I've added a part. So now we've got all the parts in our bill of material. Let's go down and look at our assembly instructions. You can see I've already added a couple of instructions here. If I click on Gear 1 and 2, it says mesh gear with Gear 2, please. Add Gear 3, mesh Gear 3 with Gears 1 and 2. But let's add another instruction. Let's say I'm going to click on our folder. I'm going to say Add New Text. And the title of this is going to be Add Hands. And I'm going to give my work instructions. I'll say attach the hands to gear 3. There we go. And now we can see that this instruction now is at the bottom of our list. Again, I could rearrange this if I wanted. I can add an image to this to show people what I mean. So I would come back here, import media, and I would put in my picture now of,
there you go,
everything's assembled. And now I've added that. Now, there's a couple other options we can do. We can add certain types of instruction, classes of instruction. So I'm going to add some more text, and I'm going to put a big warning up here. And rather than an instruction, I'm going to say this is a safety issue. And I'm going to say, don't pinch, except I'll spell pinch right, don't pinch your fingers.
Good advice.
Good advice. And you'll notice now that this is a safety warning, so you see you've got the little stop sign icon there, just kind of lets you know. And I'm going to move that up at the top because I want people to see it. And let's add another instruction, add new text. And this is, we're going to call this test. So I'll say wind clock and make sure it ticks. And we're going to call this a quality instruction. Now I come back over here, and you can see now there's our test. It's got a little Six Sigma icon next to it. Just a little visual indication that this is
quality.
A quality issue. Okay, now we're all done. We've got our bill of materials. Now we want to output this for people to use. So I can right-click on this subassembly, export PDF, and I'm going to look at a draft version too. Now in the free version of LockStep, you only got 2 templates you can choose from. The paid version, you have more templates, but this one actually works just fine. I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to get myself a PDF, and I'm going to open it, and we'll see what this looks like. Okay, so the first sheet of our PDF is our cover sheet, and we can scroll down and we see there's our bill of materials. I'm sorry, our notes and bill of materials. There is pictures of any images that I include in the bill of materials, and there are actually my assembly instructions, and if I happen to include pictures with those assembly instructions, those show up there as well. Now, the big thing with this that is really the real advantage is revision control, and that's really what I want to show you right here. Right now we were looking at a draft. If everybody thinks this is cool, I can go here, I can click on the subassembly, I can assign for approval. This now marks this as open for approval. Everybody can look at it, check it out. If everybody's happy with it, I come back and I say publish. Publish, and then I'll give this a name. I'll say this is published because of ECN Engineering Change Order 1020. Okay, once you publish it, you can no longer make any changes to this version of the document. It is cast in stone. The only thing you can do now is create another revision. So this is now the published version, and I can print out now this published version. Okay, so if you want to look at past revisions, that's easy to do. I say opening previous version, revision history, and we can see now everything associated with this. All my past revisions are stored here. I can look at them. I can go to an earlier revision, say open, and we'll see that a new pane opens up right here. And this simply shows me what was in the past revision. I can look at that, and I can close it. Now, when I'm ready to print the published version, I simply click up here, export PDF, except instead of a draft, I click publish version, and off we go. Now, the published version will always only publish the very last revision that was published. So when you print a published version, you know that what you're sending out to the line is the published version, the last version of the document. So this is free. And it's a great little program, downloadable from Sequence Software. Great little program that you can use to get started on very easily documenting your work instructions. Now, I wanted to point out the only difference really between this and the paid version is $795. The difference is with the paid version, you can do all the editing of pictures within the program itself. In this, you can't. If you bring in a picture, it comes in as is. So if you need to edit it, rotate it, shrink it, enlarge it, you have to do it in Photoshop or Paint or whatever outside the program, then bring it in. The paid version has all that built in. The paid version has more templates for export as PDF. It also has some more text editing functions that you don't get in the free version. The free version, though, is very powerful. This is it's a great little program. It just takes really all the hassle out of creating work instructions.
And we met with these guys at MDM.
Yeah, and they've got some very high-end products as well. Enterprise, basically enterprise versions of this type of software. But we really wanted to focus on this because it's free and it's something everybody can.
And it's it's very simple to use.
It's very simple to use,
and it's very useful for people.
Yeah,
terrific.
That's LockStep, free.
LockStep from Sequence
software.
That's right. And we have some information, I think, right below the player here, where people can click out and they can check it out. So go ahead and check that out. This is an interesting piece of technology that we just discovered ourselves. All right, great.